Hello, folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. This week, trouble a-brewing online. Once again, your crack team of reporters. Solon.
Hey.
Meteorologist Niall.
It's gonna be cold this weekend. It's gonna snow somewhere, but it's gonna be warm somewhere else. 'Cause that's the weather.
Sure is.
And Duke Nukem on sports.
Hey. Baseball.
That was him, yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball.
He's got a cold.
He's out right now.
Yeah.
Now, to talk about the latest news and bullshit, it's me, John. Hello.
Hi.
I don't.
Not just bullshit.
Folks,
like you've been on a roll. You saved the site yesterday.
I guess I did. Yeah, I had to call I had to email two people. And then today I had to do one of those live chat things, where they have the little chats in the bottom right corner. I had to do that with two separate people. But yeah, the site's working again.
Oh, but you didn't have to email. You didn't have to call anyone, phone call people.
I would have if I could figure out where the phone lines were. Because honestly, talking to people, I know there's folks out there that have anxiety about talking over the phone.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I don't have that. I'm more anxious meeting people face to face. Talking over the phone, I'm just I just want to talk to somebody on the phone. Because it's easier for me. It's I'm fine sending an email, but I would love to just have the immediacy of calling somebody. I would love to call people for review codes. If I could just call somebody and just be like, hey, here's what's up. If you have any questions, you can ask me right now. Yes or no. I wish I could just do that, but it's all emails. It has to be through text. It has to be official. I get it. But, man, I wish I could just be like, hello? Yeah, hey. I want to play Yoshi's Crafted World. No? Alright, fuck you too. Bye.
My hierarchy is definitely phone calls are at the very bottom, and then emails are above that. Then I would go to text. Text is probably near the top, but then Twitter. If I can just solve my problem by whining publicly on Twitter about it, and then having a support team get back to me in my DMs, that's the best.
You're the kind of person who likes to post on Twitter oh, fucking UPS driver left my package out the front and now somebody stole it or whatever. And then,
yeah.
and you don't even tag them, but somehow they find you and they're like, oh, we're so sorry. You talk to us here on DMs and we'll give you money or something, or fire the guy or something.
Yeah, co-signed Chris or Deborah. Yeah. They're always very human, right?
Yeah, it's always CM or whatever, their initials are. I fucking hate it. It's the worst. So
I know who CM is.
Yeah. I don't want brands fucking interacting with me. One time I was I tweeted something about how I couldn't find vanilla Coke where I lived, and then the fucking Coke Freestyle official account responded to me I hope you find some, enjoy some nice cold Coke. And I was and I just went no, I'm gonna block you because I don't want brands interacting with me.
Wait, Coke Freestyle, the whole vending machine contacted you?
Yeah. Their Twitter account was just hope you find some, and I was just go away.
I have to believe that's run by an actual, freestyle machine. Probably,
yeah. I mean, people who work fucking corporate social media accounts are pretty much machines anyway, so...
I don't think they want to be, but yeah.
I don't mind if someone replies to your problem with a solution. If I'm hey, my plane's late or some shit, mention what it is, they figure out what to do, I don't mind that. But if I'm just saying boy, I just had a really good burger from McDonald's, I don't want McDonald's tweeting at me oh yeah, yum. I'm Stop. Leave me alone. Let me live my life.
I'm putting my heart and soul out here on the web in text form. I don't need another advertisement from you.
Yeah, like, don't commercialize my being, you know? Like, I only want to talk to McDonald's corporate if I have a fucking problem with McDonald's.
Yeah, right? which you do.
And yes, I do as a person with a soul. Yes. But at the same time, you know, it's just it's a headache. Being online is a headache.
Yeah, I don't need Burger King upset because I threatened to fucking never go to Burger King again because there might be somebody that might have stood in the fucking lettuce or something. Like, I don't need that.
You never know when that's gonna happen. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, thanks for going through all that call support and tech support.
Yeah.
Because you saved the site.
It's fine. No, it was no biggie. I'm glad it's working fine. It was pretty funny though, because one of Rose's girlfriends tweeted at me the day after, just hey, I still can't get on it. I cleared my cache and I didn't know what was up. And I went through some stuff and I was asking people in Chooch chat hey, is anyone outside of America are you able to get on there? And then at the end of it, it was just oh no, this is just her problem. So I just tweeted at her, I think I figured out where the root cause of the problem is. It's your house. It's in your house. And she just cleared her cache again and it was fine. So I don't fucking know. It's just go to videogamechoochoo.com. Mm-hmm. It works.
Yeah. Hail to the King .baby no longer does because they wanted to upcharge me. I bought that for under €5 and they wanted to charge me €95 to renew it, and I was like, fuck that. No.
Yeah, in a year or two, when Gearbox announces a Duke sequel with that URL, you're gonna know why they wanted to charge more.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Somebody else wants to buy it. I mean, you're welcome to it, I guess, if you want to own Hail to the King .baby, but once it goes down in price, I'll probably pick it back up, honestly.
When it's not so competitive.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, because Chooch.biz still works.
Yeah.
While I was fixing it, actually, I didn't know that we also have VGCC.com.
Huh.
That one works too.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there you go. You can do whatever you want. The full title, VGCC or Chooch.biz, whatever tickles your fancy. Those will all send you to the site.
What's on the Chooch biz today, John?
Oh, there's so much we could talk about this fucking podcast week. It's a great time to talk about video games because everyone's doing it and we all love it.
Yeah, a lot of talk.
Should we start
low action, but a lot of talk.
Should we start off with the fucking topic of the week? Should we do the fucking argument tonight?
Yeah, I love that argument. That's my favorite part of video games.
You want to have the argument, Solon?
Yes, I want to have the argument.
Okay, so you seem to be the one that wants to speak on it more. Do you want to introduce us to the topic, and then maybe we can talk about it a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Have y'all played Sekiro?
No, because I don't like FromSoft games.
Good, perfect. That means that we are perfect for adding to the discourse on Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. But From Software made a video game, and we are now, I think, at 2 weeks after the video game was released, which means no, not even 2.
I said just about.
Maybe just about. It's the perfect time for everyone to start having opinions about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
because everyone's finished it and now they're bored.
I mean, yeah, it happens to line up with a down week in games where there's a whole week of absence between games coming out, and so people have finished their DMCs, they've finished their Sekiros, and now everyone's all riled up about how hard Sekiro is, as well as the accessibility problems of Sekiro. And so there's been a lot of conflation between the two, as well as discussion about what's appropriate for games that are designed to be difficult. And I feel a little bad talking over it because I know Scott had just a lot of really great ideas and concepts around how Sekiro could evolve. or what's even necessary for Sekiro. But basically, it comes down to people want an easy mode. They want an easy mode for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice so that they can appreciate later parts of the game that they might not necessarily be able to. On top of that, Sekiro is a much faster paced game than previous FromSoft games, the Soulsborne series. It means that it requires a lot more technical finesse, and not everyone's able to do that. Especially if people have issues with controllers and the physicality involved in it, they can be shut out pretty immediately by the difficulty of Sekiro. And so it was an interesting discussion. Not a lot of good faith in it from the gamers, but the thing that really has stuck with me personally is how much FromSoft has very clearly, the company who makes Sekiro, has very clearly said it when anyone brings up that the game is difficult or that there should be more accessibility options, they immediately shut any discussion of it down by saying, you don't understand our game. You don't fundamentally follow what our game's about. You just don't get it, bro. And I don't know. Well, what do you guys think about that?
That's not entirely true.
No?
That's not true. No. They've made reference to the difficulty of their Souls games a little bit, but I feel like just saying that those games are purely for just banging your head against it and all that, I think that is misinterpreting it. And I also feel like to put some things into perspective, something that has been brought up recently by a couple of people, Rhodes has brought this up, and some other folks that I've read some articles about this, about how just an easy mode is not the answer to that particular problem.
Right.
And a lot of folks feel like bringing up disability in regards to this is unfair and a little demeaning, in the sense that conflating disability as needing an easy mode is it's a little bit of a microaggression, you know, like saying oh, your hands don't work. Do you need baby mode? No, it's what should be in place is there should be options available for folks. If people don't have fast enough reflexes, there can be slower modes, or maybe some sort of mode that gives you wider frames to do actions. Say a parry in Sekiro, it doesn't have to be a split second thing. It could be a bit more lenient, so you're still able to do things. Remappable controls should be an absolute necessity. Colorblind modes should actually work and not just be lazy reskins of things. It should actually allow you to see. There's some stuff where you see so many people when you bring up easy mode, you'll see that if there's an easy mode in a game, it's demeaning. You'll see Metal Gear Solid 5, if you screw up a mission enough times, you get a chicken hat. If you screw up playing Devil May Cry 3 enough, then it will pop up easy mode is now available, as in you couldn't figure this game out. If you play Cuphead in easy mode, you reach a point where you finish the end of that run, and then it basically just tells you, why don't you play normal mode? Because now you can actually see the ending. It doesn't let you finish the game. So there should be more respect for folks who do have these difficulties, and instead of just giving them a band-aid of a lesser experience, quote unquote, there should be more options available to let them have the base experience, but with accessibility and ways to help them out in ways that they will need, instead of just, oh, well, it's easy now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We made the characters have less health.
Yeah, because ultimately easy mode and accessibility are two completely different things.
Yep.
There are people who, like you said, need certain accessibility options just to play the game, and that's a completely different thing from it's going to be easy to kill this guy. You know, like there is such a huge difference there. And like you said, the conflation of accessibility options with easy mode talk is kind of, you know, shitty and dismissive of people who need those options in a huge way. And it's fucking terrible. So,
and also dismissive of people who just want those options.
Yeah.
And Sony and Nintendo need to step up to the plate.
Definitely.
With their controllers. Like, the fact that Microsoft has their accessible controller and Sony and Nintendo don't have anything like that. It's really rough. And, you know, Nintendo has dropped the ball considerably recently. Like, some of their big releases, you know, like, you know, laugh all you want about me saying that ARMS is a big release, but, like, a fighting game like ARMS had no remappable controls whatsoever. Like, anyone with any kind of motor disability just can't play that game, you know, if they have any kind of trouble touching those buttons exactly how they want them to. Mario Odyssey is a game that there is no reason why you should have to shake anything in that game, but it still has it still has that. For no reason. Just, you have to shake to do specific moves. And you shouldn't have to do that. You should just press buttons to do that, and there should be remappable controls in that, too. And there aren't, from what I can remember. Like, it's... A lot of these companies are letting down folks who can't play the games normally, but, you know, Mario has assist mode, where, you know, it's... If you fall down a pit, you'll pop right back up. But, like, what's the difference if someone like, why don't you just make it so instead of being easier to recover from falling down a pit, why don't you make it so these people don't fall down the pit in the first place?
Well, yeah, that gets to the idea of basically game design, which is kind of something when I've been listening to Scott talk about this for the last couple days, he's really helped me get to the core of the idea that why do we have different difficulties in the first place? And most games, the answer for that is not just accessibility, but also to give people multiple routes to understanding how their game is designed. So Demon Souls, the Soulsborne series, Sekiro have one route in which you can learn how to play the video game, as opposed to other games that'll have 3 different ways that'll teach you how to play the video game, like an easy, a medium, and a hard. And that's one of the things that like DMC did a really great job of. That's why it has like 6 difficulties, is because it wants you to be able to come at it from 6 or usually 3 different ways. And then as you finish those 3, you unlock even harder difficulties that'll then in turn teach you even more about the depths in which you can learn the game. And so there's a whole like study of game design that takes difficulties and why there are different difficulties to games in a completely different direction. And I'm really interested in that. I would love to see what an actual easy mode for these games would look like, because I think that would be a lot of fun.
I mean, like, I'm playing DMC5 right now on its, I guess, easy mode. I'm playing it on human.
Sure, I don't think it translates perfectly like easy and normal or whatever it means in DMC, but yeah.
Sure. So I brought up DMC3 earlier because what they do is they drop you into what is basically normal mode originally, and you can't really change that until you lose a bunch, and then it bumps you down to easy, and it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel shitty. But if you start off from the front, like, okay, yeah, you're going to pick the easier mode, play through it, learn the game, you can come back and try harder difficulties. It's all about the presentation, and it's about, you know, not humiliating folks. And again, but because of that presentation, calling it human instead of easy can also help folks be like, look, I'm not playing on baby, you know, like, you know, you think about like fucking Wolfenstein or something where you pick easy mode and it's BJ Blazkowicz in a binky and a diaper and shit. Like, that shouldn't be that. It should just be, hey, you know, like one of the ones that I liked, again, I think it's from Shadow Warrior 2, is its quote unquote easy mode is basically just like, it's not, oh, you're a baby for playing this. It's, you want to get through this to either see the story or you just want to feel like a superhero. Pick this because you're just going to run around and kill a bunch of bastards and you're going to have a good time with it.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Like, that's fine that exists, you know? And hell, Sekiro can have an easy mode for the folks that want to just play through it for the story or whatever. But at the same time, as I said, easy mode wouldn't solve a lot of the problems that folks with special needs in regards to gameplay would need, and that should be addressed more than, yes, I don't have enough time to play this because, you know, it would be nice, but at the same time, it's like, come on, let people, if games really are for everyone, then we need to focus on those options and letting people do what they can to play what they want. What's
kind of interesting to me is I'm surprised FromSoft wouldn't want to add as many options as possible to their game. Because games that do that, like Luca is a great example of a game that lets you, they're called mods in the game, where you can modify damage dealt, damage taken, speed of the game, like just a lot of options. And it basically turns out to be like a big flex from the game designer to the player. Like, hey guys, hey friends, you want to radically change how the game works at a systemic level? We can do that because we're that good. And it kind of seems like something FromSoft would like to do. Like, hey, we can make all the enemies really small. We can make them really big. We can like change the game in cool ways if you dig deeper into the options. And also they're helpful for accessibility. Like these are things that are kind of a win-win.
Mm-hmm. And I should say specifically the article that I read that helped me parse this sort of conversation is it was on the Timber Owls site, which it's timber-owls.com. Specifically, the easy mode isn't an easy fix for accessibility article. So yeah, cool. Definitely check that out on there. That basically lines up with how I feel about this whole thing.
Yeah, I came about on even bringing this up and talking about it because Shane Bettenhausen yesterday tweeted about his experience working with them, where they said to him, quote, "You fundamentally misunderstand our game if you want an easy mode for the North American release of Demon's Souls." And that was where I was like, that's interesting, because that's old history at this point.
Yeah, it's like,
but it still echoes
over a decade ago, like at this point. But yeah, like you very much see that attitude, I think, still reflected in their stuff, like in the games they make, and yeah.
All right.
There's the discourse.
I think we. Yeah, that was basically it. And you know, it's a tricky conversation, and you know, sure. I would hate to talk over folks. But you know, as long as we're all chill, that's what matters to me.
I just find it a fascinating design discussion on top of everything else. Like there's so many cool facets to it, but also it's very hard to talk about because gamers are very quick to shut down any discussion of this as being, you just don't get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of the discourse, Niall, you played a game that had no politics in it.
Yeah, I did. I played the Tom Clancy's No Politics 2 video game.
Wait a minute. That's got no politics?
Yeah, no politics at all. Yeah, the fucking Division 2. God. So then you played a little of that during the beta with Scott.
Yeah, I saw a lot of politics there. Did they patch out the politics before the beta released?
No, they patched in a lot more politics. I feel like, and like a lot of really. I would say gross politics at that.
No.
You know, like you saw in the beta, there's that mission where they have you rescue people who are locked into the Martin Luther King Library, because the game is set in DC for people who don't know. And that was pretty bad, and it's still pretty bad in like the game proper, but it gets so much worse in the full game. So Ubisoft were adamant numerous times in the run up to this thing's release that there was no politics. They were not making a statement in a game set in Washington DC about like a virus that's caused or that's spread via dollars on Black Friday.
Wait, what? Wait, that's actually the plot?
Yeah, that's the plot of the dollar flu is the epidemic that and it's like terrorists put it on the money on Black Friday.
Did they actually think this would be apolitical because it was so stupid?
I don't know. I mean, well, that's from the first game, but it's like if you don't know that from the first game, you won't know that in this new game. But
okay.
But that's like what the flu is that has wiped out American civilization.
I love that that's the plot, but like, who the hell uses paper money anymore?
I know, right? Like,
stupid.
Yeah.
I'd sooner expect the Visa flu or like the MasterCard flu.
The Apple Pay flu.
Those chips they put in your card. Those are they're actually rigged.
Yeah, we all got the overdraft flu. But The Division 2 was really stupid. Like, I could kind of break this down mechanically in the sense that compared to the first game, like, I think they've made some smart additions and they've made some terrible ones. Like, they've kind of destroyed the social space aspect of the game.
That was the selling point of the first one.
Yeah, like, in the first game you had safe houses, which is where, like, you would see everyone before you went out into the world or whatever, and people would be talking in there and all that stuff. Now there's still safe houses, but, like, there's never anyone in them, and I have yet to see a single person talk in the chat in that game. Playing it on PC, so there is, like, easy chat functionality, just nobody uses it, because now you can just, like, be walking around in the world and hit a button and just like put out a call for people to join you at random, so it like takes out the old like social function of just hanging out or whatever with randos in those safe houses, which is weird because again, like, that's a major part of that first game, and now you just constantly, like, every 5 seconds get like messages going like incoming backup request, and you're just like, fuck this, how do I turn this off? And then you turn it off, and then the game is no longer social at all.
My only contact with the outside world.
Yeah, but aside from that, back to the politics stuff, like, oh my god, it's hard to know where to even start with the politics. So there are various different enemy factions in that game. I'm only like level 12 or 13 right now, so I've only encountered the first two, who are the True Sons, which I think is also an NXT tag team. Who are just like hardcore right-wing militia people who like all address each other by military rank, and they like talk about like saving America and all this bullshit. And then there's the really gross one, like even more gross one, I guess I should say, the hyenas, who are like picking the scraps of America's corpse. And they have like, so each faction has like a couple of classes that are like enemy classes that are unique to them, and a couple that are just like standard like dudes with assault rifles and whatever. And the hyenas have one. It's in close class. Like for the True Sons, it's a guy with a shotgun who'll get up on you. But in this, it is a guy with a knife wearing a police helmet. And before he charges you with his knife, you get, and I swear to God this is true, you get a little pill icon over his head that fills up a meter above his head, and he takes drugs and gets stronger and runs at you drugged up, because that's not politics. And if you shoot him while he's doing that, he will get confused, and that's his status effect, and everyone else will get confused that's standing around him. Which is... Yeah, that's...
So, Niall, I did a quick Google search just to see where hyenas are native to. And hyenas are native to the Middle East and Africa, not North America. I also did a follow-up Google search for scavengers that are native to North America, so that this analogy could make sense. And they could be cockroaches. They could be possums. Coyotes would be a really good one. Or turkey vultures.
Yeah, they could be, but, you know, I think Ubisoft probably were just like, what's a predator as the hyena? Because that's the level of fucking, like, for a game that is so full of political imagery and, like, weird, like, gross right-wing messaging.
Yeah.
So the opening cutscene, and I think Rose might have talked about this at some point on the podcast, but the opening cutscene of that game, it starts off being like, we expected free Wi-Fi, we expected coffee in the morning, and then it like goes on a little bit, and it's like, when the flu broke out and society collapsed, did you own a gun? Did your neighbor own a gun? And then you're just like, oh my God, this game is like I haven't even like started playing, and the game is like advocating for gun rights and shit like that. And like, okay, so I know how muddled I sound, but it's because I'm just really trying to take in how stupid The Division 2 is. So you get like you have your main base, which is like the White House, of course, because no politics. But you also have like regional bases of operation around, like, as settlements. And the first one you get is like a theater, an old abandoned theater or whatever. And that's like where you get all your missions from for that section of the map. By the way, I think, and I don't know if this is intentional or if this is just the way Washington DC is shaped, but the actual game map of The Division, if you zoom all the way out and you spin the map around, it looks like the United States.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like reversed. So if you like flip it around, suddenly the top, like the northwest of the playable map, if you turn it upside down, it looks like Florida, and the rest of it is shaped like the United States, and it's pretty bad. But yeah, anyway,
it totally does. Wow.
Yeah. I think that's intentional, probably.
Yeah, I don't think that's DC necessarily.
Yeah. But I was playing, and I was like, I got a new bunch of missions in this settlement, and it was like, go talk to these NPCs who you've never spoken to before, who have no like distinct characteristics to make them any different from new NPCs or whatever, but they'll just give you, you know, your next mission. And I go up to one of them and I hit the thing, and it's like, side mission discovered. And this character, who I've never seen before, has no like actual like standout characteristics, says one line of dialogue to me to give me this next mission, which is, and I swear to God this is true, we just remembered we forgot the Declaration of Independence in the archives, can you go get it? That's a side mission. And I'm paraphrasing that a little bit, but that's essentially what she says, is she gives you a one-line bit of dialogue to ask you to go and retrieve the fucking Declaration of Independence as a side mission.
Of course. I mean, you gotta. Like, that's a document, I guess.
It's unbelievable how brazen Ubisoft were to stand there and try and, like, pass this game off as apolitical. This game with fucking Tom Clancy's name in the title off as apolitical. I can't believe it. It's just the worst.
Well, I don't know why they would do that either. Because it seems like it would be so much better for everything if they just said that, like, it was the most political game. Right. That it was like, only, what's their end game with calling it apolitical? And is that an Ubisoft thing?
I think it's them, like, trying to be like, if we say it's political, or we like acknowledge that we might kind of be taking a stance here, one way or the other, it's going to make people on one side of the divide mad, so we'll lose buys or something. That's the way I feel like internally they like that was their logic for it, was we can't say we're making a statement or somebody will not buy the game because of that statement, but I just don't know how you can look at that game that you're making and even pretend that you are not doing something political with it, because good God. Like,
yeah, I mean, grabbing the Declaration as a side mission, that sounds fun. Like, that's actually enjoyable. I don't know why you would want to say, like, this is not going to be what's in the game.
Yeah. Like, there's a whole mission where you go through the, whatever the like big national museum in Washington D.C. is called. I don't know the name of it, but you're like going through all these like recreated like exhibits of like the Vietnam War and shit like this, and I don't know how you can have a level or a mission in a video game that simulates an area of Vietnam in the 60s during the war and go, we are not doing anything political with this video game.
Oh, wait, they just have like a gunfight in there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because since they're simulating the battlefield of Vietnam, they might as well, like, because, hey, that's tons of cover, right, that they can give you.
Yeah, so BioShock Infinite had a great time doing that. That was a wise decision on their part.
Yeah, so, like, that's the level it's operating on. It's unreal, man. Like,
Great job surviving it, then. It doesn't...
Yeah.
Besides, like, those missions sound fun and quirky, but, like, actually doing them don't?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and the thing is, it's The Division, so there's no real story. Like, I couldn't tell you the name of a single character in that whole thing. I do know the writing is terrible. Like, one of those first cutscenes is just like, you're the new sheriff in town, go introduce yourself to the locals, and stuff like that. Like, it's
very hammy. It really was when we were doing the beta.
Yeah, it's very cheesy and very rah-rah USA kind of stuff. You know, it's what you'd expect from something with the name Tom Clancy in the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good God. Like, I think I said this last year when I played the first Division, which I was playing during a heat wave during the World Cup as just like a distraction when there was no matches on, because it was like, it's so hot I can't even think, and I was playing it with like no sound and just on Discord calls, like zoned out, just left trigger, right trigger, and I was like, that's the ideal way to play the Division. And I think now going into the Division 2 and having to pay attention to what, or like at least pay lip service to the idea of paying attention to what's going on in that game, like, I think the best way to play the Division 2 is also like on a Discord call, zoned out, not paying any attention. Because as soon as you start like examining or thinking about the world it's giving you at all, it gets real uncomfortable and gross, and not in a way that like is interesting, but just in a way that's like, oh, this is skeevy.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your Division thoughts.
Yeah, I'm braver than any soldier for playing the Division.
Sure are.
Our derision of the division.
Are. Mm-hmm. All right. So there's I played some stuff, I guess. Played more DMC5. Good God, I like that game a lot.
Have you gotten to touch Bloody Palace yet?
No, you do that after you beat the game.
Oh, okay.
And I have not beat the game yet.
I've been watching. My roommate's been playing that one, and it's actually really cool. Mm-hmm. But go on about. Tell us what your thoughts on DMC5 have been this week.
It's just good. It's fun. It's got a real rewarding flow to it. I will say, that game, once you start playing as Dante, that game goes from, 9 to, 12 on the fucking volume scale. It's just oh yeah, no, we're going past 11. We're going to 12. Because Dante is just off the walls, absolutely ballistic gameplay. Because I'm sure we've gone over this a bit here, but each of the characters plays very differently. Nero is your base character. His special thing is that he has his right arm was cut off, so it gets replaced by a bunch of different mechanical arms, and the mechanical arms can do different things. So, there's one that's like a rocket punch, there's one that can stop time, there's one that does an electrical shock push, there's one that's a drill, there's a bunch of different things you can do with it. It's all very cool. My only complaint is that in order to switch between them, you have to destroy the one that you're using, which I really wish that wasn't the case. I wish you could just switch, and that would help out with combos. You could just swap between them. You're yeah, I want to use this one. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, quick, switch to this one. Boom. Now keep it up.
Yeah, the consumability is interesting. And what my roommate has done to solve this is just have all 8 be the same thing. It's just gun arm after gun arm after gun arm, and so every time he consumes it, then it goes to the next gun arm, and so there's, and I'm I guess that's a solution.
Well, the thing is that fixes a problem and not the problem I'm kind of talking about, where
right.
I wish I could use the drill arm and then switch to the rocket arm and then switch back to the drill arm or something like that instead of having to consume them. If I drop a combo or something like that, I just wasted those arms and I feel like adult. And then V, who's the mysterious Adam Driver motherfucker, his whole thing is that he has summons, which is a really interesting thing to do in a character action game. I can't think of a game that's done that before, where he kind of has to stay away because he's frail, and then he has a panther that you control by pressing triangle and a bird that you control by pressing square. And the panther is basically your up close attacks, and the bird is your far away attacks. So you want to mix those up, and you do different inputs to do all these different moves. And V's other gimmick thing is that when he does his devil trigger, his special ability, it summons a third character, which is just this big shadow golem that just does whatever it wants. So that's pretty neat. But then also the thing with V is that he actually has to do the final blow, so you get as many of the enemies into this white weakened state, and then V can just teleport over and just stab them with his cane, and he can just do that over and over again, and it's really fun. But it's super different.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's all about positioning.
But then Dante. I have seen people say that Dante's moveset in this is the biggest, most elaborate moveset in any character action game, or almost any video game ever. I'd be inclined to agree. It's legitimately overwhelming. You get a bunch of different weapons. I have 4 different weapons so far. You get all these weapons, and then you have 4 separate styles that you can swap between on the fly. And then you also have guns that you can use. So he has Trickster, which is just, it gives you a dodge. Swordmaster, which gives you special abilities with all of your weapons, you press O and it does something different. Royal Guard, which lets you do guards and counters. and then Gunslinger, which lets you do special things with the guns. And you could just combo you could switch weapons just by pressing R2 to switch your weapons, and then L2 to switch your guns. So you can just be in the middle of hitting someone with your sword, hit R2, switch to your glaives, punch them a bunch, switch to a gun, start shooting them up in the air, press R2 again, switch to your fucking motorcycle swords that are two halves of a motorcycle that you just swing around, and then you could put them together and turn it into just a regular motorcycle that you start riding around, hit R2 again, and it's a hat. It's a fucking hat that Dante shoots the currency of the game at the enemies. And if you kill the enemies with the currency, you get extra back. So you can gamble currency to get more back in the middle of a fight.
I heard
it's insane.
I heard when you use the hat, it like puts a little hat on the enemies or something like that. Like you can make the hat like travel to other enemies, and then it does something where like they get a bonus. You get the bonus when you kill them with that or something. Is that right? Yeah. That sounds really.
It's bonkers. It's bonkers.
That's amazing.
It's bonkers. It's so much fun. It's completely off the walls. It's ridiculous.
Have you gotten to see any combo videos of people just swagging on the game systems?
I've seen some here and there, but honestly, I've just been having fun trying to figure out stuff on my own so far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that great at it, but I've pretty consistently finished fights getting to A and S ranks, like, pretty much throughout. I've only hit double S once so far. I haven't hit triple S yet, unfortunately. I'm trying my best. One of these times I'll do it once I figure out the combat more. But Dante is definitely the easiest character to play as, but also the most fun. Like, I get S rank on like every fight I do as Dante because it's just so much fun switching between all the different styles and switching between the weapons and, you know, just being able to dodge, and then, you know, you could switch to Trickster, dodge an enemy's move, and then switch to Swordmaster, get in, knock them up into the air, hit them a couple of times, then switch to Gunslinger and just start shooting them in the air. Like, it's so many things you can do. It's non-stop, balls to the wall, super crazy party. That's what you gotta do when you're playing Devil May Cry. You gotta eat some pizza, you gotta say jackpot, you gotta fight with your brother who's got slicked back hair and looks like a dweeb. It's good.
I'm so happy you're having fun with DMC. That's so great.
I am too. I'm glad that I'm having fun. Like, I'm gonna finish this game, and I'm probably gonna bump it up a difficulty and run through it again.
Nice.
So yeah.
There's the thing that I was noticing with the game. I was kind of frustrated every time I would see gameplay of it, I would watch my roommate play it a whole bunch, and I was getting frustrated seeing the backgrounds, the scenes, and where all the monsters are at have a lot of like, it feels kind of underlit. It feels a little saturated. There's like a lot of ashy grays and like burnt sienna reds that are kind of everywhere. Every level kind of looks the same a little bit. And I was frustrated with this. And then, I got to see Bloody Palace, and I saw that it was like this super brightly lit arena that as you go deeper and deeper down the levels, it gets darker and like gorier, and like the lighting and atmosphere changes as you go down. I was like, oh, okay, no, this is it showed a lot of love and care in the exact specific department that I was frustrated with originally. And so that was what I saw this week, that I was just like, this is cool. The Bloody Palace arena is a cool space. The fights are all really awesome. They're just play spaces that you get to just hang out in, and do your cool combos constantly. And then they reward you for it. And not in the way that the story mode already rewards you, but like, it has timers attached to it that keep going up as you do well in the fights. So like, it is all good feelings the whole way down. And then you lose. Eventually you die. So yeah, no, that's Bloody Palace has kind of changed my entire view on DMC5. And so I'm excited. I hope that you get to see that too, John.
I mean, I'll finish the game and I'll try it once I'm done.
Hell yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the potential for DLC, because
oh yeah, what's the plan for that right now?
So I guess some slight spoilers in a sense that if you've played DMC, you know that this is gonna happen. But Virgil is in the game, so people have basically found out that you're going to be able to play as Virgil, probably in the Bloody Palace or in some other form. And I don't know if this is a concrete rumor or if it's just something that people hope is going to happen. But you can't play as them, and they're not really in the story that much whatsoever, which is a bummer. But Lady and Trish, the two women in the story, they're just kind of around in the story, which is a bummer. That's like the big complaint in this game. But I don't know if it's just people hoping or if there is some kind of rumor that maybe there's going to be some kind of DLC campaign where you just play as Lady and Trish having like a girls' night out, like fucking up some demons. That would be cool. I would love to see that, but I don't know. I don't know how concrete that is.
They're leaving cash money on the table if they don't do that.
I mean, they really are. I would absolutely pick that up if they did, but who knows? I think I haven't unlocked it yet, but I think Dante does unlock some of the like weapons that Lady uses, which is maybe a bit of a shame because that might make it like they'd be like, well, if you want to do what Lady does, just play as Dante, and it's like you're missing the point. You're missing the point. I want to play as Lady. I don't want to play as Lady's weapons. I want to play as her. I want to play as Trish. So I hope they do that. Because I mean, if Virgil's going to be in it, they'll probably add Lady and Trish later. So But yeah, that's DMC5. That's that. That's that. Solon, do you want to talk about some other games real quick?
Sure. I've been playing just a ton of games over the last 2 weeks since I was last on, and last week I got to play Baba Is Me, Baba Is You, and if you haven't seen Baba Is You, it's a block pushing game where you push words around, and those words define the rules of the game. So if you say, if you push words around to say box is push, then now you can push boxes around. If you say, if you push the words around to say key, wall is key, then all of the walls in the world turn into keys. And usually that means you win because you did a good job. It's a really, really hard video game. It's weird. I have a lot of weird feelings about it because it's a very simple premise. A block pushing Sokoban style game is well tread design water. It's something that a lot of people will have knowledge of when they come into the game. And then the cool gimmick of it, with you being able to redefine the game rules as you play a level, it does a really good job in the first world teaching you how it works. And then everything I've played after that doesn't. It doesn't really tutorialize you in the same way that it did in the first world for the whole rest of the game. And so what they try to do to mitigate this is say, okay, you only have to beat 8 out of 15 levels in a world and you've completed that world. And so they'll put the 8 easy ones at the front, and then behind those will be extraordinarily difficult ones that sometimes iterate on the same theme, except for me if you're on the Switch, because the levels are completely out of order compared to where they were, or where they are on the PC version. So there's just kind of levels everywhere, and sometimes they have to do with the ones that are in that same set of levels that you already played, and sometimes they just don't. And so I've been trying to come to terms with how much I love this concept and how much there's just certain parts of this game that I am having very difficult time defending. Because I want to love this game, and it doesn't really feel like it wants me to love it. It kind of feels, when you get stuck on a level it's usually because, like, more often than not, for me at least, it's been because I'll have the idea, the main core concept of the puzzle solved, but I won't be doing it in the right spot. I'll be effectively like one block away to the north or to the south to solve this puzzle, and it kind of feels like the game is just like, you can't, you got the right idea, but you did it the wrong way, and so I'm gonna have to not let you pass this level. There's kind of a weird relationship between me and the game designer it's themselves when playing this game. So yeah, I'm still trying to get through it. I think I've cleared 4 of 5 of the worlds, and I've 100%ed probably about 3 of them. And the weirdest thing that I've run into is that I'll get to like the late game stuff, like World 6, World 7. I think there's like 8 worlds total.
Right.
And I'll just breeze through like the first half of it. And I'll be like, oh, right, this is why I like this game. Because I can push blocks together that say that box is not key. And it works. Double negatives, haha. This is fun and novel and cute. Yeah, you put it together in a way that I can see the rules on the screen and how they build off of each other. And then right after that, I'll get to something that's just like, oh, these are the same concepts that we did in World 2, but you just made them very hard to move this time. And so it's like, I get what I'm supposed to do here, I just don't know what you want me to do with them. So yeah, weird curation. I almost wish there was like 100 more levels to this game so that they could more like take baby steps to at least give you like, it's not about whether it's easy or hard. It's my entire thing's been about flow. It's about the game flow, having a hard level followed up with some much easier levels. And so that's kind of what I've been struggling with that game. I also played a brand new game. There's a brand new game that just came out. It's called Yoshi's Crafted World. This Nintendo joint with this cute green dinosaur. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He sticks his tongue out, eats enemies, and poops eggs. It's a wild idea. And this Yoshi character is in this entire world made of cardboard and string. It's based on a long-standing tradition with this Yoshi character. He's a very franchise player in the Nintendo universe. But the franchise that he comes from is... This is another game. I wanted to love it. I really, really do want to love it. The franchise that he comes from is Yoshi's Story and Yoshi's Island, which are gorgeous games dripping with color and style and atmosphere. And then Yoshi's Crafted World was kind of promising that and uses a lot of the language of Yoshi's Story. Like there's little marshmallow blocks that tell you what to do. If you hit them from below, it'll give you a little hint. And there's Poochie. And if you explore the world well enough, you can find a bunch of secrets. And that's kind of it. It's actually a super linear game, which is not like Yoshi's Story. And it's also got gachapon elements in it.
Really?
It's got gambling in it, which is... It uses the language of gachapon. It uses the language of, like, getting rares or super rares. If you put in coins, you have the chance of getting equipment that you can equip to Yoshi. And it's kind of cute things, but they also don't do anything.
This is with with real world money, like actual microtransactions.
No, it's not. It's not microtransactions. It's just a system where you can use certain coins that you get in the game. Not the main coins, but sometimes the main coins, sometimes certain coins. It's kind of weird. They've got like a lot of different currencies in this game, and there's coins, and then there's red coins, and then there's flowers. Coins you use on the gachapon crank system so that you can buy armor for your next levels. And the armor is just like a cardboard box that you can equip, or a juice box that you can equip for the next level. So you could take 3 more hits. And then there's the flowers that are just the gate limiters. If you don't have 10 flowers by the time you finish 2 or 3 levels, then you have to go back and replay those levels, which is really archaic. I don't totally understand it. But yeah, it's kind of a thing where I've got all these little frustrations with. It's very similar to how I feel about Kirby Star Allies, where it's like there's a game here, but it gets cut short because it just doesn't have enough style to carry its aesthetic. A lot of the like cutesy objects in the game are completely unanimated and don't really react to you doing anything with them other than just you throw an egg at it and it goes away and turns into a coin. So it doesn't have that life that I'm looking for, the vitality, which Star Allies kind of had the same problem where there's one goal of every level. You just go from left to right, and then when you complete a level, there's just another level in front of you with somewhat similar ideas to it. And so I've spent about 3 hours playing this game, and I'm just not finding what I'm looking for.
That's a shame.
One good thing. There is one good thing. The level design has it so that every single level has a like B-side where you actually run the course backwards, which kind of is why there's a problem with the courses being so vague, is because you can run them forward. They're able to be run forward and backwards, which kind of makes it weird.
It breaks it a little bit, yeah.
But when you run it backwards, you see the backsides of all of the props. And so instead of like a painted flower from the front side, you just see cardboard slats with paint dripping over the sides on the backside. And that's really cute. And on all of those, the quest is that you find Poochie. You just find a bunch of running away Poochies and so that part's cute.
That's kind of a shame because I heard like people really seem to like Woolly World. Was that what it was called?
Yep.
So like for the follow-up to be so underwhelming is kind of a big bummer, honestly. Like
there's chances they could, change things, fix it, polish it up a little bit maybe. I don't know what you'd do to really polish it, but Yoshi's Woolly World had a second edition that came out and it was even better than the first and kind of fixed a lot of these similar kinds of problems, so maybe that's what it needs. Just needs a little more love.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the new games.
Niall, you seem to have quite the opinion here about Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah. So they did the closed beta last week for people who had pre-ordered the game. And let's just say that after playing that beta, before the beta was even over, I had cancelled my pre-order of Mortal Kombat 11.
Whoa!
So, like, I've talked about this before. Like, I've played enough Mortal Kombat in the past to, like, be vaguely aware of its core concepts and of its characters, but not a ton of it. MK9 was really the only one I put any time into, and I probably put like 20 hours at most into it. And coming to Mortal Kombat, after having spent the last month playing Dead or Alive 6, is something that, and having Dead or Alive 6 be like the first real fighting game I've ever gotten into properly, coming back to Mortal Kombat felt just really dreadful in a lot of ways, because, Mortal Kombat is so much slower paced than Dead or Alive. It felt to me, I think largely because it's a 2D fighter. Essentially, it's on a 2D plane, as opposed to a 3D like environment like Dead or Alive. It felt very stiff. It felt just not a lot of fun. Like when I sat down and played the beta for Dead or Alive, it was like oh, this is what fighting games should be to me. Like, this is fast and responsive and everything makes sense and it's fluid and like the inputs sort of feel right and feel good and proper in the way I would want them to feel instinctively. And then going to Mortal Kombat and not really remembering at all how to play it and just trying to like get a feel for it again. I just did not like it at all. And like in the beta, one of my Mortal Kombat mains, I guess, one of the characters I played mostly when I played MK9, Jade, was in the beta, and so I went straight to play Jade, and it was just like, I feel like I'm playing a game that's running in slow motion, and it's not because like the netcode is bad. There's this. It's sort of hard to describe. John you might like know what I mean here, but there's sort of this. I'd almost call it a delay in Mortal Kombat when you hit someone. There's like you hit someone and then it's like for a split second it feels like everything pauses for a second. Like it just, I don't know, it just felt like slow and cumbersome and weird to me. And there was also times that I was just like, what are these hitboxes? Like there were times when I was, you know, after figuring out how to do moves where I would do a move and Jade's bow staff would like pass straight past, like go straight past somebody's head in such a way that you would think like, okay, that has to be a hit, and just like would register as nothing. And I'd be like, why I should have hit you there. Like that not only hit you, that hit you so much that like it went past you and somehow you haven't taken any damage or like shown any kind of like indication of being hit. So like what is this hitbox if I can hit you in the head and for some reason you're not like phased by it, or like it doesn't register as a hit? Like what is that? It was like, okay, this game like looks cool and you know it's gory and like fucked up in a lot of ways, but God, I just don't like playing Mortal Kombat. I think, you know, I think I've just like found the type of fighting game I like, and it's very much not a 2D fighter like Mortal Kombat is.
From what I understand with Mortal Kombat is they do a lot slower, is a weird way of putting it, combat, because they do a lot of like impact is kind of a heavy theme in the game.
Sure.
And so they'll do like frame delays on when contact happens so that it feels more impactful. Was it something like that and just that wasn't agreeing with you? Or was there also something else where it just like you would try to hit buttons and they wouldn't input because there was like still something was being too slow with the game picking up your inputs?
No, it was more like what I'm thinking of is more like after you hit somebody, there's like a little window of a pause, like almost for you to set up the next move in a way. It's like, it's hard to explain it. It's like hit, beat, but like the beat is literally like a millisecond or two. It's just enough for you to like register that it's there, but not enough.
You're noticing this.
Yeah. You know, it's like, it's literally like a frame or two of just like pause. So it wasn't that like I was hitting buttons and nothing was happening or it was taking a second for it to happen. Like as far as I could see, netcode was fine and the game was responsive and everything. And there was certainly like moments where, you know, like Scorpion would jump in at me and I'd do the uppercut, which for Jade is just like bringing her staff up, and it would, you know, hit him on the underside of the chin and you'd get this lovely zoom in X-ray where his teeth are going flying out of his head. But like, yeah, it just, I don't know, it just felt stiff and cumbersome in a way that just didn't register with me, I think. You know, I think it's just the nature maybe of a 2D fighter, you know, and that sort of the limitations that being on a strict 2D plane sort of puts you, as opposed to, you know, having a 360 fully like rendered 3D space to move around in. Especially, you know, when my DOA main character, like, is entirely based around attacking from side steps, which makes things even weirder than going to a 2D plane. But yeah, it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me, and I was actually really disappointed, because like, I do want to see that Mortal Kombat story again, and I will probably wind up picking the game up in like 6 months when it's €20, but yeah, I was kind of bummed.
I was just looking up on Twitter to see other people's takes on Mortal Kombat specifically, and I scrolled down to see just an advertisement for another Warner Brothers property. But Shazam did an ad spot where Shazam, the main character, is playing Mortal Kombat 11, and he's just doing the thing, the film video game thing, where the video game's playing on the screen and he's hitting 1,000 buttons a second.
I thought you were about to say it was Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Like, that's where I thought you were going, but...
That would be even scarier.
Yeah.
But, yep, this doesn't seem like that kind of game where you can hit 1,000 buttons a second and have anything happen in Mortal Kombat, because the film was or the ad was showing the game on the screen, and like 3 moves happened on the entire ad spot. It was like uppercut, waiting for them to come down, punch.
And like, maybe it was just the beta, because it was a closed beta. Maybe they'll do an open one that has more onboarding on it. But like, it felt very much like at least the beta at least felt like it very much expected you immediately to know everything about how Mortal Kombat works, because that I could see there was no, like, the tutorials were all locked, the training was all locked, there was no single player, all that stuff was locked. It was just just fight online. So, you know, as somebody who hasn't played Mortal Kombat in when did 9 come out? Like 8 years ago or something like that?
Long time.
Yeah.
God, probably did, huh?
Yeah, like, who hasn't played Mortal Kombat in that long, and who even then only played it kind of casually for like a month, like, trying to then jump into a very different fighting game to the one I've been playing. Maybe that, you know, because I was coming up against people who clearly knew what they were doing, and it took me 7 or 8 fights before, like, I had sort of figured out what Jade's moves were, like, or at least enough of them. You know, so maybe that had some kind of effect on it, but like, even if I had won 100% of my fights or whatever, or if I had felt like I was pushing everybody in every fight, or things were going well, like, I don't know that I would have liked that game. And it certainly doesn't feel, at least from the beta, like it's it's going to be a very accessible fighter. You know, like, a lot of fighting games do that thing where it's like the auto combo stuff, and it doesn't seem like it has that, but like, I don't find that stuff really helpful either. But yeah, like, it doesn't feel like it feels like a game for people who like Mortal Kombat, and I don't know how good it's going to be at getting people who are just like interested in it from the outside into that series. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, fair enough. Those games are very weird and different compared to a lot of fighting games, so I understand where your complaints come from.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I guess real quick, I could just touch on some other stuff that I played. I finished Metroid Fusion.
Hey, congrats!
Yeah, wow. Great game.
Yep.
Fucking amazing.
One of the best Metroids.
Absolutely. Like, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like I prefer Zero Mission, but...
Yeah, I do too.
It's still up there. It's still really good. I am 100% gonna play more Metroidvanias. You know, I feel like Metroidvanias are quickly becoming one of my favorite genres. Like, specifically the Metroids and the Castlevanias, which is kind of funny, I guess. But that's that, you know, I just wanted to say that. So if anyone has any Metroidvanias that you can recommend, hit me up. I'll absolutely be down to hear some more good ones. You know,
me and my roommate
on that later.
Played Castlevania 64 for about 5 minutes.
And
I recommend the first 5 minutes of that one.
Yeah, that's not a Metroidvania. That's a bad game. Because Metroidvanias are specifically the games where you have the sprawling map that you expand as you explore, and you'll reach like barriers that you need to find items to progress past. That's what a Metroidvania is.
And at least having some semblance of quality. Which Castlevania 64 doesn't have that. It doesn't have any of that, you're right. But it does have a sick violin opening.
And that's the one that also has skeletons on motorcycles, right?
Yes, it does. It really does.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's A quality.
It sure is.
So then the other thing that I tried, I played this recently. I don't know how familiar either of you are with the franchise Umihara Kawase.
I know of it.
No idea what you just said.
So the original one was a Super Nintendo game. I don't remember if it came out in America, so it might be a Super Famicom game for those of you that are pedantic about that. Where you play as this girl who can cast a lure out, like a fishing lure, and she can attach it to enemies that she can then reel in and put in her backpack, or you can attach it to the environment. And then you can swing around with it. You can, like, kind of propulse yourself if you, like, swing back and forth or up and down. You can rocket yourself upwards.
Yes, this game. Yes, they played this at SJDQ. They did a GDQ run of it.
So the original version is this classic Super Famicom, Super Nintendo game. They tried to keep making more of them, and they didn't really click. You could buy them on Steam for, like, super cheap, and, nobody was really paying too much attention to them, which is a bummer, because they're, like, solid puzzle platformers. But, they're releasing a brand new one. I know it's going to coming out on Switch. I don't know what else it'll be on, probably, like, PC. But there is a Switch demo available right now, but only in Japan. But if you're one of those people who has a backup Japanese eShop account like I do, you can download it and it just automatically goes to an English translation because it's like, oh, you're playing on an English Switch. Just here you go. We know what you're doing.
Oh, that rules.
So there's a demo for the new one called Umihara Kawase Fresh. And it's weird because it's mission-based now. Because the original version of the game was just, you start off at one point, you go around the area, you get to the end point. It was just a puzzle. Like, the puzzle was figuring out how to get to the end of the map. In this one, they give you one map so far. I'm guessing they'll have more maps later. It's been one map throughout all the missions that I've been playing on the demo. And you just have to find items around and then deliver them to people. Like, someone will be like, I want 3 walnuts. And you look around the stage and you collect 3 walnuts and then you walk up to the guy and you give it to him. And it's not as different as the original Umihara Kawase. It feels a bit like a step backwards in some ways. Like, making it more structured, like with missions, is almost a detriment to what those games were. And I guess I kind of understand why they did it, because it does make the game a little bit easier and, like, more appealing to the average consumer. Where it's just like, oh, it's not just getting from point A to point B. Like, there's more stuff to do in between that. But at the same time, it's not as different. It's not as enthralling, I feel, and I don't know. I'd love to play more of it. I would love to see how it evolves. The art style is really, really cute. Like, whenever you're in, like, a cutscene where you're talking to somebody else, there's just this cute, like, almost felty graphics for Kawase and whoever she's talking to. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's weird. It's a weird way to take it. I feel like the developers just wanted more people to play these games and wanted more people to experience it, and maybe took a weird route to do it.
That does sound like they took steps to modernize the series. because especially a game, if I understand it right, Umehara Kawase is about a chef that's collecting ingredients, and so making it mission based would make that story more palatable. Sorry, that's a bad pun. I didn't mean to make that. It makes it more like modern in a way, because the other cooking games, I mean, like Battle Chef Brigade has the exact same kind of thing where it's like you go out to the world, you collect your ingredients, and you bring them back.
Yeah, the cooking is less like you're not like cooking things for anyone. You're cooking for yourself, because I mean there will be missions where it's like, oh, you have to go deliver a pizza to this character. You know, that pizza's not in your inventory, but you can make a pizza if you gather the ingredients on the stage and make it for yourself, and that'll heal you or give you like a boost, you know? Like, I mean, it will heal you, but some of the things that you can cook, like, for example, the pizza, it raises your defense. There's other things where maybe it'll make you faster or something. I haven't seen any of the other foods yet, but you know, there's some stuff there, but it's a very interesting choice to make it a mission-based big map that, like, I think maybe my problem too is that it always starts you off from the same place. So it's kind of hard to explore, especially when there's a timer, and it's not like oh, you have 2 minutes to do this, but it's still like it pushes you to speed run it. So it's kind of weird where it's like you have to get through this as fast as possible, but also there's a bunch of places around the map where you might swing around and find a collectible or something. It's weird. It's this very strange thing, because like there are some maps like, or there's some games like, you know, Meat Boy, where they have the small map and there are collectibles or secrets on those maps, but it's not so interconnected. It's not like each Meat Boy map. It's not like each Meat Boy map in a world are connected, because I feel like that would lessen the experience, and it'd be like, okay, if I want to get through this as fast as possible, you would miss so many collectibles. Like, the reason why Meat Boy feels as good as it does is because you can speed through it as fast as possible, and then if you find the secret exit or whatever collectible, that's also incorporated into the speed. It seems like it doesn't really know what it wants to be.
Right, that sounds like it's stretched between a couple different design philosophies, which is weird for a game that's trying to revive itself based on what was essentially a really cool design philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we'll find out later.
Yeah.
Solon, real quick, do you wanna just quickly touch upon the Final Fantasy games that you've played recently?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling in the same place you are with your Metroidvanias, but mine about the Final Fantasy old school RPGs. And we hit our stride this weekend with playing Final Fantasy 3. It's definitely we came at it in a way where it's like, all right, Final Fantasy 3, this is the one this is the one that didn't come out in North America, and so we were playing an emulated version of an English patch on a Japanese version of the game. And so playing that was fascinating. We were coming at it from the angle of, this is the game that nobody talks about. And nobody talks about it because there's not much to talk about. And there's not much to talk about in Final Fantasy III, specifically because every other game that came after it came directly from it. And everything that came before it was like the first of its genre. Right. Like, there's so much to talk about with Final Fantasy 1 and 2 with the important strides that they make, but Final Fantasy 3 does a lot of things for the first time that people take for granted. There's the job class system is actually like a thorough deconstruction of what was cool and exciting about Dungeons and Dragons. You could actually pick between, I think it was like 16 different classes, and you could switch between them on the fly. And that was huge. That was something that was like super novel and really cool. It was actually really fun and accessible to be able to play with that. There was some really old gimmicks to that. In order to switch to another job, you have to unequip your character completely of all of their armaments and then re-equip them every time you change job. So that wasn't necessarily great, but it was also, it's an old NES game that you literally only have 2 buttons, the A button and the B button, to interact with things. And there were a lot of little tiny touches in this game that were amazing. Every single like airship that you get into or vehicle that you ride or chocobo that you ride, usually have some kind of dash button attached to them or submerge or something. And I thought that would get kind of clunky, but it was like, no, if you hit the A button in a place where the game allows you, you will, drop your airship or submerge underwater or whatever that vehicle lets you do. And then at any other time, if you hit the B button, it'll do a bunch of different things like run, or it will talk to the person that's behind you, or it will open up an inventory menu so you can interact with other NPCs in the world and give them items. And it was like, these were like novel things because it was just there were so many options that you had. And all of them, I thought that it would be really confusing to go through, having all of these sub-menus popping up all the time and having to go to the start menu constantly to fidget with stuff. And it wasn't. It was actually a really nice, simple, easy playthrough. We spent 20 hours playing it from front to back. And the only things that got in the way was our own emulator garbage. We had a problem. We ran into a problem where anytime you had a monster divide, which was a cool mechanic, if they divide, they become like a clone of themselves somewhere else on the field.
Right.
And if they divided, the game would crash. So we had to make sure to avoid any divisions of any kind. If any monster like tried to summon a new monster onto the field by some ability, the game would crash, which would have been fine. We could have figured some way to finagle out of it or make sure those dungeons or those monster spawns didn't happen. But that was the gimmick of the entire dungeon. And so we were spending like an ordinary amount of time, a wild amount of time just trying to make spawns happen and force them to like not activate their division attack. And then we found out the next 2 dungeons also had the exact same gimmick. And theirs was if you attack with physical attacks any monster in this dungeon, they divide, like slimes. And so we spent the next like 2 hours figuring out, okay, I need a dark weapon. Dark weapons have an ability where if you attack people physically with dark weapons, then they don't divide. Okay, great. Who can equip dark weapons? Oh, just magic knights. Okay. Everyone has to be a magic knight for the next 2 dungeons. All right, we won't heal. We'll just buy 99 high potions. We'll only do high potions for the rest of the game, and we'll just have all magic knights for the rest of the game, and then the game won't crash. And that was great until we got to the very last dungeon, in which place the monsters just randomly divided. And we were like, okay. And that was fast. That was the best part. We have a clip of it on Twitch where the monsters they do their divide thing, and it doesn't crash the game. It instead of crashing the game, it corrupts the entire game, turns the entire UI into weird, strange, broken characters, makes a horrifying grinding noise, and then after about a minute of accelerated, like speed boosted time, because we're using an emulator and we can just kind of boost it, the other monster would appear, and it was this horrible red demon with its ass out that was just showing us its butt, like, hey, I'm here now. You remember me? And so, yeah, our game just got really haunted right at the end of everything. And that was like the last 2 hours of Final Fantasy III.
Yeah, I can only imagine, like, what that must feel like in the mental state you must have been in after playing it for like nearly 24 hours straight. And
we were delirious. It was like, I thought we were like seeing things. I thought that this was like, we had to check in with the chat and be like, is this real? Is this happening? But yeah, Final Fantasy III is a strangely really incredible game. I'd be remiss to not talk about the final dungeon, which is what literally everyone will talk about. If you see anything about FF3, their final dungeon's really badly paced, and they do not give you a checkpoint at all. It's basically like doing 3 dungeons all at once, and the difficulty ramps up about 10 levels from the second to last dungeon to the last dungeon. And they don't tell you this, but you are trapped in there, and so we ended up having to spend about 2 hours just grinding in the last dungeon area so that we could beat the final boss. Other than that, though, super clean, awesome run. This weekend we're doing FF4, and I'm excited. That's the good one. That's the best one, clinically speaking. Based on number of times it's been remade, no other Final Fantasy has been remade as many times as FF4, which scientifically makes it the best one.
Mm-hmm. That's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one they love the most. Final Fantasy's favorite stepchild.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Niall,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to touch upon what's going on in Dead by Daylight?
Sure, I'll make this quick. But since the last time I've been on the podcast, they released a bunch of new DLC. So they first released Chapter 11, which is like their full content drop, where it's a new killer, a new survivor, and a new map. The new killer is really cool. She's called the Plague, and her thing is that like she is a Byzantine priestess who succumbed to a plague, essentially. So her like power, or her mechanic, like that separates her from the other killers, is that she can projectile vomit. So you just walk around the map if you're playing as her, puking on things. So you puke on, you can puke on survivors or on generators or on pallets or anything. And if a survivor touches them, they get sick, which, eventually, which like slows them down and makes them like unable to do things, and they have to, like, they can only be cured by going to these wells that are placed around on the map when you're playing as her. But once a survivor uses that well, it becomes corrupted, which means that she can then use the well and her puke gets even stronger. Which is
gross.
Yeah, it's really gross when you're just like, when you're playing as a survivor and you see her like in the distance somewhere and she's just puking this jet of green vomit across the map onto some other poor player, and you're just like, I don't want that to be me. And then it eventually does become you, because that's what she does. Yeah, she's fun to play against. I haven't played as her that much, but I haven't really enjoyed it, because she's so, like, she feels like somebody you really have to put in the time to play, and as somebody who doesn't play killer a lot, I like to just stick with the killer I know, because I like my, like, edgy, shitty teen killer. And then when they dropped that, the PS4 version of the drop, they left in some files accidentally, and people were like, "Oh, this is just like somebody photoshopping stuff," because they like removed it immediately or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this is just fake." And then like a week later, they just put out this trailer of Bruce Campbell, and he's like, "Hey, Ash from Evil Dead, he's in Dead by Daylight now."
Yo!
And I love Bruce Campbell. I think, one of the greats of horror movies. And I mean that sincerely, not in the way that like I go on Twitter and tweet things like, "Oh man, Shifty Shellshock, one of the greats," or whatever. But like, I love that Ash is in the game, but I kind of feel like he doesn't fit in that game, because as a survivor in Dead by Daylight, like, you're kind of designed to be powerless and like to have to rely on your wits and kind of on luck a little bit, and like timing and hiding from killers. And when I think of Ash as a character, I don't think of like somebody who hides from the bad guys, like he is very much like an iconic character who actually fought back, and who was able to fight against the Evil Dead or whatever. But I guess like playing as him in this, it sort of feels weird because that's not like, I don't associate Ash with being powerless, but at the same time it's still Bruce Campbell, and everyone loves Bruce Campbell, and I love Bruce Campbell, so that's kind of that's kind of enough in some ways too. So it's a cool little thing that I'm glad they put in there.
Is this Ash from the Evil Dead in it, or is it literally Bruce Campbell?
It's Ash versus Evil Dead era Ash, but they like scanned like they did capture for Bruce Campbell, which is cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
In the past, like, they haven't done that for their like tie-in survivors, like their licensed survivors,
Mm-hmm.
Like they obviously weren't going to be able to get Johnny Depp in as like Quentin from Nightmare on Elm Street, or Jamie Lee Curtis to be Laurie Strode. So like those characters don't really look like their movie versions. Danny Glover does not look like the Danny Glover in the game. But so actually like having Bruce Campbell, chin and all, in that game, like, as Ash, is really fucking cool.
I was also thinking, what if the survivor was just Bruce Campbell? And so I had to make sure I wasn't mishearing it.
Yeah, that would be good. He talks.
Hey kids, what's going on out here?
Yeah, he talks and makes like a lot more noise than the other survivors too, which is nice. So, because ordinarily the survivors just kind of like shriek. But Ash is a lot more vocal, which is nice. Like, he's not just or whatever, which is cool. So, yeah, I'm glad he's in there. I'm willing to look past the fact that like he's kind of just as powerless as any other survivor for the fact that he's in there. Yeah.
All right. So I'll go over this. I'll go over these quickly here. So 2 bits of Machonsky-based news here. First off, Sega announced their Genesis Mini, their version of the NES Mini and the PlayStation Mini. But the neat thing about this one is this isn't just a ROM dump. They are getting famed emulation kings, M2, who also did all those Sega Ages ports and the Sega 3D Classics collection and all these other great versions of these games. They're actually going to be porting these games to the Genesis Mini. So it's going to have 40 games. So far they've announced Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Space Harrier 2, Shining Force, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Toe Jam and Earl, Comic Zone, Sonic 1, Altered Beast, and Gunstar Heroes for the US version.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's a fantastic list. Holy shit.
But the nice version is that knowing M2, and I think they've confirmed this already, these games aren't just going to be the US versions. They're going to have the PAL versions, the Japanese versions. They're going to have special, like, bonus content. There's going to be different modes that you're going to have. This is going to be a full-fledged special emulation release of all of these games, of 40 games. So that's a lot.
Now we're talking. All right.
Yeah. This is what people should be asking for when they get retro compilation consoles and the like. So it's going to be selling for $80, but that's a pretty reasonable price for 40 games with all these extras. So I guess look for that soon. Also, so Best Buy, famed leakers Best Buy, have revealed a lot of information that Nintendo would probably want to keep under wraps, because I would guess they're going to have a direct sometime soon. First off, about a week ago, they accidentally posted a picture of what seemed to be Joker's Smash Bros. Render, like his character model, in an ad for the Smash Bros. DLC. They removed it not even quickly, they removed it like a day later. but that was there. And then a few days later, someone dug up in Best Buy's like back end in their POS system. They dug up the existence of Persona 5 for Switch, the much rumored Metroid Prime Trilogy port for Switch, and for some reason, some kind of listing for A Link to the Past for Switch.
Oh.
They removed that the next day from the public eye, but some folks from Best Buy have basically said, yeah, it's still there. Like, you're still able to see it. And some other folks who worked at Best Buy are saying that they get this data from their warehouse. So this wasn't necessarily Best Buy fucking up. This was kind of Nintendo's fault for, like, not giving them the heads up, like, hey, we haven't announced this yet. Don't list this in a place where people can see it.
Right.
So it's weird. It's really interesting. I would bet money that there's going to be a direct next week because all of these things are pretty easy announcements. I don't know what this Link to the Past thing is. Because, you know, if it's a remake, that's crazy because they just announced that Link's Awakening remake. But Persona 5 Switch is an easy guess because, hey, Joker's in fucking Smash Bros. And also, there was that Persona 5S website that got posted, and what starts with S? And then, of course, it has been Metroid Prime Trilogy has been rumored for a while. So all of this is, I'm sure we'll find out exactly what's going on very soon.
That's really exciting, though.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's move on to questions, folks.
Oh,
if
hell
you want to
yeah.
send in questions, go to videogamechuchu.tumblr.com/ask. You'll sound like these folks. Anonymous asks, a few years ago, I was playing Silent Hill 3, and my older cousin asked me how many lives I had left. Because he was like 30 years old, I obviously assumed he was making a joke, but no, he thought all video games had lives. He then proceeded to complain about how games are too easy these days because if there are no lives, there is no challenge. My question is, what is the most old man statement you've heard from someone who is too young to be an old man?
That's such a great anecdote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think I have anything as good as that. That's pretty good.
I don't have anything, like, video games related that I could say for that, but, like, pretty much anything that's ever come out of the Report of the Week's mouth.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
I'm surprised he knows how to, like, drive a car. That seems too newfangled for him.
They had cars in the 1930s.
But modern cars? Like, I feel like he'd be like, where's the crank on this automobile?
You gotta get to Burger King somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all I could really... Because I feel like a lot of people that I know are more in tune with things, so I feel like the only people that would not know would be like my parents, and you know, they just have their parents' reaction, where it's just like, "Wow, it runs on a disc now? That's crazy!" And like, you know, you can connect it to the internet now, and it's like, yes, you can watch TV on it too. And they're like, "Oh wow, should I buy a whole console for that?" And I'm like, "No, don't spend $500 on TV, please." All that stuff.
I had the younger teachers that I work with, they came up to me and they said, I don't feel like I'm a millennial. I feel like I have more in common with the unnamed generation before me. And so that's kind of what I identify as. And I kind of had like this moment where I just looked hard into the camera and I was just like, what? That was probably my most like recent. You're too young to be an old man, my friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're a Gen
I know what I know what you're saying by this, and that's that you want to take responsibility for the world like all the millennials are, because we have to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't want to take responsibility for the entire world, I also would identify as an unnamed generational. It was, yeah.
All right. Anonymous asks, how thirsty for this weekend's Wrestle festivities are the Chooch crew? Because it's WrestleMania weekend.
Ooh. Yeah.
They're so... Oh my god. I literally asked my friend who's way more into wrestling than I even am. I'm like, hey, what's the things that are happening before the WWE events, and how do I access them? Because I know there was a bunch of events happening, and I had no idea how to, like, actually watch any of them or view any of them if they were online. And they just said, I'm asking the same thing. I'm just as lost as you are. Please hold up and please wait.
I will send you a paste bin link, Solon, after.
That's what it would take. That's exactly what I'm looking for, and that is exactly what it would take. I need a whole paste bin document that, like, lists out the feeds.
Yeah, I tweeted that exact thought last night. Like, what? How do I follow what's happening? And somebody like hit me up to be like, "Here's the paste bin. Here's the info." So I'll just pass that along to you.
Oh, blessed be. I know DDT Pro happened this weekend, and I really need to see that. WXW happened.
Yeah,
the like German promotion had an event in New York. New Japan and Ring of Honor are in Madison Square Garden together, and they pushed WWE out. WWE is at the smaller venue for the big WrestleMania show. Fun politics
it's for
are
NXT,
happening there,
right? Isn't it? Was it that? Isn't that for
both?
For Access? Oh, weird. I thought like WrestleMania was in like a football stadium or something like that, right?
Maybe it's a football stadium. Maybe that's where it's at.
I thought it was in like where the Giants play. I could be totally wrong, but. Yeah,
I for some reason I can't remember the name of the arena they're in.
Yeah, I don't remember either. So far all I've watched was I watched like I had the AIW show on in the background because I just wanted to watch Hornswoggle versus Scott Steiner.
Oh my god!
Yeah, which was exactly what you would think it was.
That's exactly the kind of match I would expect you to be watching too.
Yeah, Scott Steiner came out and he made them play that Randy Newman song "Short People," and that was just like. Yeah, that's Scott Steiner.
That's Scott Steiner.
Yeah, and then he.
Yeah, that should tell you everything about Scott Steiner because A, he wants to be as offensive as possible, and B, he doesn't understand that song is completely sarcastic. So he's just like,
yeah, exactly.
He's like, oh yeah, that's great. Someone wrote a song about how short people are bad. Put that on.
Yeah, like, he basically swore he was wearing an old NWO shirt from the 90s for the entire thing. He did not sell a single thing for the whole match, and then he just like started screaming at fans, and that's exactly what you would expect from Scott Steiner. I'm looking forward to the Orange Cassidy is doing a thing show tomorrow. He has booked such great matches as Chuck Taylor versus Trent in a 1 minute time limit match, which is going to be really good.
What?
Yeah.
Like an Iron Man, but it's 1 minute long?
No, it's just a regular match, but it's 1 minute long.
Perfect.
So that should be good. I don't really plan on watching WrestleMania because I don't care. And
all 8 hours of it.
Yeah, I don't care. Even though I hope my hometown girl wins. I hope Becky Lynch wins. But I don't care, and I don't think she will. I think Ronda Rousey's going to win because that's what WWE would do because they're the worst. There was a few other shows I wanted to watch, but. Like, I was at work today, and I didn't get to see some people that I wanted to see wrestle, so,
Yeah, literally before going live, I was watching the NXT show. Up to 5:00 p.m. when we start recording, I was watching it, and I said, stop! All right, that match is done. I'll pick it up when we finish the podcast, so that's exactly where I'm going after this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I'm more interested. Like, it's that time of year to watch some wrestling because I haven't watched any full wrestling shows in a long time. Like, I just see clips on YouTube now, and that's it pretty much. But I'll watch a few shows. I don't think they'll top anyone. Like, I feel like every time we talk about wrestling, I mention that somebody was killed off, like literally murdered on screen recently on Impact, but they did it again last week, which is great. So Ali got stabbed in the throat and died, so that was the thing that they did on Impact.
Oh no!
So, yeah. So that less than a year after, like, Eddie Kingston killed Conan's, like, nephew by running him over with a car or something.
That's incredible.
Yeah, wrestling is a thing.
It's a soap opera that I love dearly.
Alright. Anonymous asked, with new consoles on the horizon, how do you think the new controllers for them will be iterated on? Personally, I would love to see more controller types per console and more accessibility options up front.
Oh, right. This is such a discussion to have right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just, I mean, I don't even think it should be a discussion, at the very least for the last one. Just, of course, everything should have the accessibility.
Yes.
Just, yes, that should be it.
I would be shocked if Sony did anything to improve accessibility, because it's Sony. I wouldn't be surprised if both Sony and Microsoft come out of the gate with their own Pro Controller things as options, but I don't think Sony are going to do anything with accessibility until it gets to the point where, like, everyone is, like, piling on them for why they haven't done it yet, because that seems like Sony just seems really arrogant right now. They seem like Microsoft was 5 years ago, and like, I don't think they're going to make the moves they need to make. So
yeah,
but as far as
go for it. No, finish.
As far as, like, changes to the controllers, I don't think you need to make that many. Like, I think the PS4 and Xbox One controllers are pretty good as they are, right? Like, if there's something I would change maybe the bumpers on the Xbox One controller, because they're terrible. Like, the triggers are great, but those bumpers, the shoulder buttons, are terrible. Like, that's pretty much the only thing I would change on either controller, personally, so...
They feel like I'm pushing on aluminum foil, like, click, click, click.
Yeah. They really hurt if you have to hold them down for some reason. Like, I don't know why. My finger just, like, really gets tired.
Yeah, don't hold it down. It's called a bumper. You just bump it.
Actually, now that I think about it, I might also, like, change the Xbox's D-pad, because it's really bad as well. But yeah.
How does everyone keep messing up D-pads? That keeps happening.
Yeah, like, Nintendo never have good ones. I feel like Sony are the only ones that have good ones at the moment. That Stadia one looks real bad, but we'll see how that shapes out.
Ooh, yeah, 2! Yeah! There's new consoles on the horizon, and the things that consoles are doing now are definitely indicative of us being at the end of a console cycle and them not just trying to survive it, especially with all the VR pushes. That's just what they do at the end of every cycle, just like with the iToy and PS2, and God, what did they do with the Move controllers for the PS3? We're at that point again where it's just weird stuff is happening. Xbox is doing their discless console, and that also is that's gonna be so weird so they have a discless console, and that means that they're gonna be pushing really hard towards, like, Netflix styles of libraries, right? They're gonna want to make sure that people have games to play on their discless Xbox.
That's why they have Game Pass, really. Like,
exactly. And so anything that goes past this, because, I mean, by merit of that existing, it will be a huge success. Like, because it's the only option. And so everyone's going to look at this data and go, that's the path forward. And so I'm wondering if that's really what it's going to be, is just all the consoles are going to be diskless. There's going to be no discs or cartridges or anything that you put into things, except Nintendo, who will probably stand by that until the day they die. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be weird.
Alright. Let's see here. Skull Spectre asks, Baba is you and me and not easy. How come difficulty discourse only explodes when it corresponds to action-oriented titles and not titles that take much more significant amounts of time, skill, mental acumen, and/or investment, such as fighting games, puzzle games, and strategy games?
That is exactly what I was thinking about while I was talking about things today. No, I'm really glad Skull asked this question. What do you think, John? Or Niall?
I think it's largely because the audience for action games is just larger. I think if a game like Baba Is You was, or, a fighting game was a bigger, thing that wasn't, more of a niche product, I think you would get those kinds of conversations more. Mm-hmm. But because the fighting game community is pretty much, off to the side in its own place, because a game like Baba Is You is a relatively small, it's successful, but, it's relatively small in the sense that, you're not seeing TV commercials for Baba Is You, even though that'd be amazing. So I think that maybe influences it a little bit. It's probably not the entire reason why, but I think it's a big part of it is just that people are faster to dismiss those kind of games because they see them as already having, an insular or niche audience.
Yeah, yep. What do you think, John?
Yeah, that's basically what I was going to say is, those games, I feel like a lot of people just consider those genres just, this is that genre, you don't have to, you have to put more time into it to learn it. I think another thing, too, is that there's a sense of pride in being good at, Sekiro or other action games like that. And there's less so that in a puzzle game, if you can't figure out a puzzle game, you just can't figure it out. But there's a group of people, there's the Get Good community that's always oh, you're not good enough to play Dark Souls. And there's people on both sides who need to chill out about that, honestly, because, of course, all the people that are just looking down on you for not being good at playing Dark Souls, they're fucking idiots, but I feel like if you're gonna complain and say that Dark Souls needs to not add options for accessibility, but just be this for me, I feel like that's not really necessarily a good argument, in a sense that they shouldn't change how the game is structured to appease people that don't like the way that the game is made in the first place, because you wouldn't expect somebody to say, oh well, some grand strategy game isn't for me. Why don't they make a mode that is like how Civilization is in your super high fantasy game? No, you don't have to do that. Just play Civ if you want to play a game that's like that but easier. I'm sure there's plenty of Souls-likes, especially because there's a ton of Souls-likes now. There's Souls-likes that you can play that aren't as difficult, and they're just as good games, if not better in different ways. I think people just... A lot of folks get attached to the zeitgeist, and that is a really big problem in games these days, where everyone feels like they have to play everything when everyone's talking about it. And I feel like there needs to be a point where we all can step back and be like, look, we all don't have to play that everything. If Sekiro's gonna be something that frustrates you, don't play it. It's fine. You don't have to be a part of the conversation. It's okay. You can contribute to another conversation in another way. I think that's an important thing to learn. That's something that I need to learn. I was worried about playing DMC for ages because I felt like I wasn't going to be able to properly add to the conversation. But at some point you got to think about it and just be like, games are supposed to be fun, and if you're not going to have fun with the game, then
I think
don't worry about it.
That's part of the. That is a totally valid answer to critiques, and I'd just be worried about that being used against people too often. Oh well, this game isn't for you now. My thoughts on this while we were talking about it and everything is I've got a couple quick case studies, because the people who never talk about this is Nintendo games, even though you have really difficult puzzle games like Tetris 99 just came out. and that's a very high, intense, skill-based action puzzle game. Or even the most recent Mario game, Super Mario Deluxe. It was Mario Wii U Deluxe for the Switch or something. Is extremely difficult and definitely does things in ways kind of like Sekiro where they are unforgiving. There's no, I think there's is an easy mode after you've died 5 or 6 times or whatever in a level. And they do that kind of babying for you, which is not really fun or even not a solution to a design problem. It's kind of just a band-aid to it, and it feels like that. It feels like this isn't a solution to a systemic problem. This is just a Band-Aid. But to get to Skull's closer, to get closer to any kind of answer, it's important to understand that when we're doing our difficulty discourse, that it is a reaction to a reaction. The first reaction being that if you can't beat Sekiro, then you need to get good. And then people say, the reaction being that, wait, what if we can't get good? Then do we not have a right to play this game? And then the further reaction is gamers saying, then no. And so it was funny that we started this entire episode today talking about that, because it was perfect that all three of us haven't played Sekiro, because we are adding a reaction to the reaction to the reaction. And that's what we're all about here. And so I'm glad that we have Baba Is You to also bounce that off of, because Skull's right in asking the important question here, how come this doesn't necessarily apply to Baba Is You? Is there a difference between action and puzzle games that have different mentalities, or is it just an aspect of those communities and how those communities act? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think that's something really good to think about. I don't have an answer for it, but I think it's a really cool question.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's do one more question, and then we'll wrap up. If you have questions, remember, videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask. This one's from Curl Factor, who asks, so Borderlands 1 and 2 just received a remastered update along with the announcement of Borderlands 3. In addition, Borderlands 1 received numerous quality of life improvements that update the UI and make it more manageable. In the spirit of posy vibes only, what do you consider the best aspects of either of those games? We have to talk nice about Borderlands to close out the episode.
All right, we'll talk nice about a video game.
I like the guns.
Yeah, I like the guns and the special abilities that you can do. I like those quite a bit.
I like that each gun manufacturer in those games has its own identity as to what style of weapon they make. I think that's cool. Was it Rose last week that was talking about the TDR guns, where instead of reloading them, you just throw them and they explode?
Yeah,
because they're made out of such cheap stuff that it's cheaper to just huck them.
Yeah, I like that. I think those games have a very distinct art style and look quite nice at times. Yeah. I still think Tales from the Borderlands is one of my favorite games of the last 10 years, but that's not a Gearbox game, so,
I was going to say my favorite thing about Borderlands 1 and 2 is that the fact that they exist led to them making Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah.
They're just going to make more pop culture references, and Claptrap's going to say something from 2000. Okay, sorry. Posy Vibes Only. Posy Vibes Only. The multiplayer. Just that there's a multiplayer to this that's super accessible online. You can grab, you always have been able to just kind of grab whoever from your friends list and whatever console you're playing on, and just do a run of any of the Borderlands and do the fun, cool headshots that always happen with every enemy and their heads pop. And I like that loop is very, very nice when you have friends.
Yeah. Okay, I know this isn't necessarily positive, but because Solon brought it up, what do you think is, gonna be the oldest meme that they reference? They've already referenced in the trailer the epic saxophone man
Oh, so, like, God. So is Skyrim's Arrow to the Knee, is that going to be... That's too new, then?
That's probably too new. Yeah, damn. I'm thinking more like they're going to have...
They referenced Arrow to the Knee in 2.
Damn, they did. See,
they already beat me.
So, my prediction...
Yeah, sorry.
My prediction is that they're going to have the original Doge meme where it says, "Oh wow, such whatever," instead of current Doge that we all love and enjoy. That's my prediction.
I think Claptrap is going to sing "Wat Wat" in the butt.
That's a pull.
That hurt.
I had to see the video for that fucking song recently, and it's. I could have.
Tiny Tina, Numa Numa.
Oh God, yeah, that could happen. That might actually happen.
I can. Yeah, I'm just expecting like a chocolate rain, like like a moment where it like starts raining and like that happens.
Have they ever done a guy just showing up in a Guy Fawkes mask? Is that a thing they've done yet? Because that seems like a thing that like
wasn't that the main bad guy for Borderlands 2? Like he had like a mask.
Kinda, I guess.
Yeah, actually, Handsome Jack. Yeah, he kind of looks like that.
It was all like freedom of the people. I don't know. No, he was just a rich dude. He was just a rich dude.
I mean, I think he was just a rich dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I would love to be wrong about Borderlands 3, but Randy Pitchford still works at Gearbox, so we're not going to be.
I still.
Do you think they'll pull a meme from the Odyssey? Like, how old of a meme can we make?
Yeah. I still can't believe that they fucking wheeled Randy Pitchford out at PAX like a month and a half, 2 months after.
Oh God, yeah.
All those allegations against him came out, like that they would have the like balls to just be like, here's Randy, he's gonna do some magic tricks for the next hour, like, oh.
Yeah, God, that used to be their, like, Gearbox's thing to invade PAX, have a panel, and just, like, do the whole Oprah Winfrey, everyone gets a whole bunch of the exact stuff that you wanted, thanks for coming, Gearbox loves people. And Randy Pitchford would be the center of all of that. And now,
I don't love Randy
really
Pitchford.
Bad taste, and it happened again this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't love Randy Pitchford. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week's show. Niall,
Posy vibes only.
No more Posy vibes. It's done.
Oh,
it's done. Niall Solon, thank you for being on.
Thank you, John, for having me on.
Absolutely. Real quick, of course, follow our Twitter at VGCC, our Tumblr, videogamechuchu.tumblr.com/nothing. Because it's just the site, not. If you want to ask a question, it's /ask. Don't type in the word nothing.
Videogamechuchu.com/nothing.
That'll probably just bring you to an error. Anyway, just come to the Discord, thegamezone.zone. We are always hanging out there. It's a great time. If you like this podcast and you want to hear an anime podcast or a tabletop RPG podcast, go to patreon.com/VGCC. You can give us $3. You can get both of those things a whole week early. So there you go. You got plenty of options there. I'd like to thank Melt Channels /Magic Circuit for our theme song Crush off of the album Magic is Real. If you want to listen to more of their stuff, it's meltchannel.bandcamp.com, and you look up Magic Circuit on Spotify. They have new music coming out very soon, by the way.
Oh,
so
yes.
Make sure you keep an eye out for that. And that should do it. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back next week with another episode of the Video Game Choo-Choo Podcast.
John, I typed in videogamechuchu.com/nothing, and you know what showed up?
What?
It's just a page that says blog posts with absolutely nothing underneath it.
Great.
Well, there you go. All right.
You nailed it.
Thanks for listening, everybody.